All right, welcome back, men of prestige, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today we have a few things to cover. We have about 8 different topics we're going to cover. So yeah, shout out to you. We just hit 30,000 views. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and share that image with you really quickly. We just hit 30,000 views. It's exciting. We're excited about this. The journey we're on it together. I want you to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, share button. Make sure you hit the bell to make sure you're notified when we do premiere new videos or we go live. By the way, go ahead and go to the homepage of this channel and make sure you go hit the clips channel. So we now set up a new clips channel where if you like to watch those long videos but you kind of like them in bits and pieces too, then we created as a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and show that to you again. We've created a channel that you can easily just go ahead and subscribe to that channel and you get all the different clips over time. All right, so I'm excited about the journey we're on. Don't forget, really all we're trying to do is that we're trying to bring a certain level of value through the trending news, celebrity news, men matters, dating, relationship, marriage, and stuff like that. So you can see here, right there, there's a Man of Prestige clips. So if you go into that channel, you can subscribe to it and you can get all the different topics in little clips like that. And like I said, we just hit 30,000 views, and thanks to you. Thank you for your submissions. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your support, your engagement. All of this is what makes it work. And I definitely want to make sure that you understand that I really appreciate you. All right. Today, we're going to go back and talk a little bit about Korra Obidi and Dr. Justin. There's an update that I feel like, again, there's another lesson that I feel like we need to dive into. Every topic I cover here is because there's some kind of dating, relationship, manhood, marriage lesson attached to it. Okay. I'm not a gossiper. I may come off that way, but I promise that's not what I'm trying to do. What I really want to do is pull out some of these lessons, because honestly, this is a real thing that we're all going through. And how in other spaces out there, what you find is that there's not a lot of real life examples, right? It's not a lot of real life examples. So yeah, so let me just make sure that we're on the same page there. So we're also going to we're going to react to a few videos. We're going to talk about masculinity and physical attraction. We're going to react to a few videos from Lapeef Network with the Godis. We're also going to talk about, Wendy Osefo from the Real Housewife of Atlanta, not Atlanta, but what's the name of this town? Potomac, right? So she's a Nigerian with Gizelle Bryant, ex-wife of Pastor Reverend Bryant. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to cover a reaction to a video, like I was saying, from the Anton Daniels. The issue with the dating pool is women. Obviously, that's not my opinion, but we're going to react to these people. Also, we're going to talk about, should new wives cut their single friends loose after marriage, right? Once they're married, right? Also, we're going to talk about the problem. If we have time, we'll get to this. We'll talk about the problem with modern dating culture. There's a pre-recorded video that I wanted to play for you. It's a small movie. I'm going to play that for you. And then understanding hierarchy and authority. There's a video with O'Shea Jackson that I feel like I need to react to. That there were some lessons there, and we're going to react to that. And also, last but not least, the only way a marriage or a long-term relationship can last is to become a simp. That's somebody's opinion, and this person's a grown man. But we're going to talk about all of that here today. Without any further ado, let's get into it. And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, welcome back. So we're talking about Korra Obidi. I've covered this topic, or this lady and her husband, a little bit over the past maybe 2-3 weeks. Basically, the guy came out, medical doctor, I don't think it's physical therapy, something like that, chiropractor, something like that, in California. And he's the husband of influencer Korra Obidi, who is a dancer, IG influencer, dancer, IG model, something like that. She's got 2 babies, one recent baby and one 2 years old, and they're going through it. And apologies, and I'm seeing headlines that says that she rejects the apology. They're basically showing out their ass on social media. It's not just celebrities that do this. There are regular people that do this kind of messy behavior. But again, you and I can learn from it. We learn what not to do. It's extremely difficult to not seek that kind of attention when you're going through it. So let's not judge them too much, right? But we can also learn from it. And then hopefully, if crisis hits you, inevitably at some point, especially in a marriage, you will know how to find proper help, proper healing, and not seek out attention on social media, because frankly, nobody gives a shit on social media. Nobody cares, right? They'll utilize you for entertainment. People like me will utilize you as lessons learned for other people, but we don't know you, sadly, and we could care less. We can only pray for you, that you find solace and healing at some point, right? But anyway, one of my viewers here, shout out to Tina Trainers. Thank you so much for stopping by. She dropped this message a few days ago, and I thought it was some important lessons from this. It's neither right nor wrong. I know some of you simps don't like to hear that. You want me to take a stance because everything must be black and white, right? Nah, that's simp move. There's more to it, and we need to dig in deeper and find out the nuances, because in real life there's nuances when we're talking about especially romantic relationships. Okay, so Tina Trainer says, I think Justin's family is behind their divorce. That statement by itself, there's all types of, I can see where you're coming from with that, but it's wrong. It falls back on whoever claims to be the leader in that relationship. You don't get to blame environmental factors. You don't get to blame the weather for you not showing up to work. It has to be extreme. It has to be like some kind of snowstorm or some kind of tropical storm that disturbed the whole city or something like that. That's absolutely unsafe for everyone. But because of a mere rain, or because it was too dark in the morning, you didn't make it to work, no one's going to take that from you. That's the same thing for men. Ladies, just in case you don't know, if you want to be an advocate for men, yes, men have it rough like that. In that sense, not so much. Sometimes it's capped too, but you know what I mean, right? So the idea that his family can cause the divorce, they could be influential, but behind the divorce, no, he has to open the doors for the family to come in for that to happen. Okay, I hear this all the time. People will say, hey, I think the mother the mother made him do it. Like, what kind of man is that? Right? There are many of them, by the way, but the point is that these are weak men. Okay, and gentlemen, if you're in a position where you feel like your mother says the final say, there you have it. There's nothing wrong. It's just that you are a weak man. Okay, because honestly, your mother wouldn't come into your business unless she feels like she can't trust your decision making skills. She can't trust your core. She doesn't trust your leadership skills. If she did, she wouldn't feel the need. It's a matter of feeling the need to come into your business. I don't care what generation, what society you live in. This is true across board, for the most part, at least. Okay, because some people are gonna be like, yeah, your experience is different from mine. How can you speak to my experience? It's the same shit. Okay, but I hear you. You may not want to hear me until you fall flat on your face. I get that. We all have the grace to do that, to wait, right? But this is not really different for the most part, okay? Maybe one or two different tribes somewhere in the corner of the whole. Yeah, maybe some people don't, but I doubt it. Okay, I doubt that you have the internet to watch me right now, and you're not a weak man for allowing your mother to come and drive you home. That is being a weak man, precisely. Okay, and it's not your fault. It's just sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? So, and she goes, I think it's a she, Trina, right? I don't think they ever welcomed her. Well, it's your job to sell your woman to your family. It's your job. I know it sounds unfair, right? It's your job to sell them the value that you see in your woman. Yes, it's going to be harder if it's interracial, right? If it's interracial, it's going to be harder. If you're from a very conservative family and you're marrying a Muslim as a Christian, that's going to be harder. But it's still your job as a man to sell them the value that you see in your woman. So they never welcomed her. Again, it's a reflection on how weak the man is. Oh, I'm blaming the man for everything. I know. If you don't like it, there are options to switch today. You can become a woman. It's like, especially if you live in a Western world. I'm not encouraging it, but it is what it is, right? But if you want to be a man and be a leader and take all the benefit of being a leader in society, you have to be okay with the responsibilities, right? Justin, you had a beautiful family. It's a shame you do things for people. Family controls you. This is possible. She's not wrong. People do this, but it's a sign of a weak man. Okay, it's a sign of a weak man. Remember, family can never like anyone that makes you happy. That's not true, but they will like it if you sell them the value you're getting from it. If you do a good job, it requires patience sometimes. They will like that wife. If he comes around and is smiling from teeth to teeth from time to time, they're gonna like it, you know. But the idea that they're automatically not gonna like her, I could see maybe some racism issue. I could see that, but ultimately, I'm just talking in general now. Usually, it's because the man did a poor job in representing himself as a man. But it happens a lot. I get it. So, and then she continues. Anyone that makes you happy, only the one that makes them happy. Yeah, but they could care less, especially a mother. If she doesn't feel safe with the way you conduct yourself, she is gonna point fingers at everything else around you, like your wife. Yes, it happens. And I can explain this a little bit further. There's multiple different psychological reasons why mother-in-laws all around the world are considered monster-in-laws, right? Not because people want to be evil. It goes back to the men, right? If you have an evil mother, she's coming off as evil because she doesn't trust you as a man and being able to make your own decisions. And yes, mothers are territorial. They will come and help you make those decisions if you don't know how to make them. Korra will be fine. She's beautiful, talented girl. She's not necessarily going to be fine. Single motherhood is hard as shit. Stop saying that to people. All right, so it's gonna be tough before it gets better. All right, that's more of the reality. Okay, 2 babies taking care of by herself, nah, stop the cap. Talented girl and strong woman, she will make her life back up again. All right, it's going to be tough. Let's just make sure we spell that out, because there are other girls looking at this, younger girls who think they can just exit their marriage or treat their husband anyhow and then exit. And no, you're also responsible as a lady to nurture your relationships, because again, single motherhood ain't no joke, right? If I was Korra, I would take this opportunity and move on. Do not accept him back. Yes, it's easy for you to say. How come? I can probably guess you're not married. There's a good chance. Or if you're married, you're not really happy in your marriage yourself. So I can see how it's easy to project this kind of outlook, right? So it's either you don't have the experience of having a family, or you have a terrible experience, right? But if you're in a place where you really like it, you would want everybody, you would be sad about this situation. This is a very sad situation. Every time a nuclear family is broken up like this, when actually there's no abuse, there's no physical abuse, there's obviously the guy is claiming to have been verbally abused and emasculated and things like that. This is sad. That's the bottom line, right? That doesn't mean he's not making the right decisions. I'm just saying, stop encouraging people to not treat each other properly and properly nurture their nuclear family, their relationship. At least do everything in their power. And by the way, I'm not discouraging if he's extremely abusive. You gotta at least exit, back off a little bit, at least, before you can even see very well to move things forward, right? Remember, things work for a reason, and this is God telling you to save yourself. He's not a bad God. He's the one claiming to be abused. So imagine if she was the one claiming to be abused. Would that be what you'd be saying? Let's be guarded. There is hellfire. Let's be guarded. So but it's not real reason. I want you to right away react to this. If you do see this video, trainer, I know you mean well, but there's some nuances in what you're saying that's absolutely destroying the nuclear family. And there's also, men are responsible. I kept saying that earlier, right? Men are responsible for the leadership and being able to study these things and make sure we maintain our family. We are responsible as men, and that's the whole point of this channel, to keep reminding them that. But I can't but hear this kind of things and this kind of encouragement that, take it and just like, I see where you're coming from. I guess it's good to encourage her right now. But let's be guarded. You know what I mean? Let's just be guarded. It's in between. It's not that simple. She should have been nurturing her relationship. If she wasn't, I don't know the full story, right? It's not the only man in the world. Just take care of your beautiful girls and love them. Yes. But real life husbands are scarce, okay? Or let me say scarce, right? It's not easy. I mean, there's a lot of people that were single throughout the COVID that would rather not be single. Why do we keep telling ourselves lies? Most people don't want to be single. If you want to be single, that's on you, but most people don't want to be single. They don't want to end up being a single mother. That's an extremely hard thing to do. It's already hard to be a mother. Wouldn't you agree? Imagine now you doing it by yourself. He could be a good father if it's on the outside of the household. Even if he tries his best to be a good father, it's going to be extremely hard on her. So I wouldn't encourage that. What I would want to hear you encourage is to seek help, therapy, before moving any close to that relationship again. Now I would like to hear that, right? Because honestly, the answer may still be they don't need to be together. It may still be that, right? And I'm not saying that's not possible. But we shouldn't be so quick to telling people to exit out of their marriage, and we should stop that and slow down completely on that, especially when there's no obvious abuse on her. If anything, we should be saying that to him. You know what I mean? Because it's the one claiming to be abused. But yeah, that was the update that I wanted to show you here. The lesson here is this: the man is responsible, is never the family. Family is called the environmental factors, like the weather, like shit that will happen anyway, right? And it's your responsibility as a man to manage that and hopefully pass the different tests and the curveballs that life will throw at you. These are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, welcome back. So we're going to be talking about we're reacting to a video from the Lapeef Network. This is one of the channels that I watch, so interesting conversations, and it's kind of interesting to see people's different perspectives on this kind of topic, and I think all of these people on this platform are smart people. Okay, I don't think we lack intellectual energy by any stretch in these conversations. I think if anything, we have intellectual diarrhea. People are talking too much, right? But I'm here for it, okay? As a matter of fact, it's extremely hard for me to engage because I can see that when people have the need to be right, they just want to win an argument. There's a lot of disingenuity that goes into that, and but I think we can learn a lot of lessons from it. So in this case, I'm going to play the video. Let's get started so we can make sure we have enough time for it. and let's dive right in.
As women, like, why would we care about how a man looks?
Wait,
I guess we don't see shit. We just move around.
She said, as women, why would we care about men's looks? Interesting. So I guess all of those times that I see women say, oh, he fine, right? I guess as much as I try to pretend I didn't hear it, unless it's at me, sometimes I get that, I said thank you, right? But I guess all that is just copying. What is she talking about, right? You see, again, I respect all these ladies, I say this with due respect, right? Sometimes you overdo it. It's one of the problems in manosphere, like people doing too much pandering to men's talking point, and then we can hear it when it's not genuine, okay? And I'm sorry, in this situation I'm hearing cap, but let's keep hearing. Maybe I'm missing something here.
Deadly now.
I think women have to change what they find attractive.
Oh, now we're getting there. She thinks women has to change what they find attractive. We're talking about attraction, so you could just change it. See, no, you can't just change attraction. You can influence attraction. It's part of socialization in so many ways, right? You can't just turn around and say, hey, I'm no longer attracted to that. It's a process. Even simple habits, like maybe you eat your fingers or something like that, it takes a long while to be able to change that. It takes 60 days, 90 days, 10,000 hours to change habits. How much of attraction that's extremely subtle, like all that goes all the way back to generations, things that we inherited in terms of socialization, right? Sometimes biological, right? But she thinks she should just turn around and change it. I'm not sure if this conversation is going to help anything, right?
I think if women look at a man's looks as what makes him attractive, in my opinion, she doesn't understand what should be attractive about a man to her. It shouldn't be his looks. His looks have no bearing on his ability to be a man. That's why everybody wants.
That's fact. That is actually factual. But again, what does that have to do with attraction? Again, when you meet somebody for the first time, you're attracted to something before you get to know them. And then for the most part, you're probably going to say like, I'll pass, right? But we're talking about initial attraction. But I guess they should stop. I guess the same thing goes for men. They should stop just looking at big nyash booty, right? They stop looking at the booty. And yeah, I'm sorry. That's not how that works, Six. I'm sorry. I know you want to help. I know you're trying to really hold those women accountable so they can stop being attracted to just a physical features of a man. It should be about, just wait for it.
And that's tall and fine, like
tall, dark, and handsome.
What affects his ability to lead and create a legacy for a family. I think it's masculine for a woman to be overly concerned about a man's looks.
It's masculine for a woman to be overly concerned about a man's looks. Where did she get this from? What does this have to do with the masculine energy? So if a woman is not even at all in her cerebral, she just finds something, she sees something she likes, a little butterfly flying around in her stomach, and suddenly she's masculine. Oh, this is what happens when we throw these words around way too much. You have to make sure that you're addressing. See, one of the things I want to try, the reason why I'm doing this reaction video is because I want you to see real life examples. The problem with this conversation is that they often exclude real life examples. It's just theoretical intellectual diarrhea. I just learned that phrase today. Jesus.
You shouldn't, if the man look good, it's like, okay, cool, but who cares about what a man look like? I don't care. But that's just me.
So you would take.
So that's cap. Because if she didn't care, she wouldn't be talking about it. But let's just believe her, right?
Staying on top of you.
You would date.
One at a time, ladies. One at a time.
I think you're right. Six, you're right on part of that. Attraction, we have to be somewhat attracted to that person. Next is mental.
Right, but what the looks is not what's attractive.
So she's saying right, but the looks is not what's attractive. Now here's where Six, you messed up. Fine chick, by the way, but she messed up. Here's where she messed up, right? but she forgot to say, to me, to her as a person, she finds a man exuding masculinity more attractive than just looks. Then obviously she's absolutely correct and she has the right to be attracted to what she's attracted to, but she's saying physical should not be the case. Well, should, woulda, coulda is not reality. That's just what should be, right? And this is what a lot of people in this space do. They try to shove down your throat what should be without acknowledging that that's just what it isn't, right? All right, let me calm down. All right, I'm getting triggered. I shouldn't be. Let's keep going.
Because you could have a man that is physically, that may be aesthetically pleasing, but he's a terrible person.
Wait, what was that? Was that an acknowledgement for, yes, a man can look good, pleasing aesthetically? Well, there's no more argument. What is she arguing about exactly?
Don't know how to be a man to you. That's not attractive to me. What's attractive to me is his manhood. No,
that's a fact. In the long run, if as a man, she's telling you the truth right now. Actually, there's a lot of truth in what she's saying, right? As a man, if all you have is looks, right? To most women, that's going to get watered down at some point. They're going to hear your childishness. They're going to hear your immaturity, and they're not attracted to that long run, even mid-term, even like a few days. It's going to be over. But here's the cap. As men, same thing, okay? We'd like to hear intelligence, a little bit of intelligence, right? Not too much. I don't want you to act like you're too smarter than the rest of the world as a woman, but I want to hear that, you can hold a conversation at least, right? But this is true across board. So, but again, she goes back to capping that no one cares about physical look, and that's where the cap comes in, right? That's why I'm asking. So, physical looks, physicality, or masculinity or physical attraction, right? Which one gets you first, right? I'm curious, ladies, like if you're listening to this, which one gets you first? Be honest, okay? If you've been listening too much to manosphere, I want you to disengage yourself for a second. Talk to your natural self. As a natural woman, what is it that's attractive? It could be any of the two, by the way, because again, if she had said to me, there's nothing to argue. What's attractive is what's attractive, but she's trying to paint everyone, say it should be masculinity. By the way, somebody showing masculinity doesn't demonstrate that it can be a leader. There's some correlation there, but not all the way. It's not an absolute, right?
Masculinity. My attraction is not to his physical looks.
Okay, so question, just real quick, like it like how his looks have zero bearing on you choosing him at all. Like no
bearing.
She says zero bearing. Nah.
Yeah, that's not what attracts me.
Now, here's the problem that I have here. Only Trill, just as I could basically guess, okay? Only Trill, just from their facial looks, was able to maintain his stance and say, nah, that's cap. Throughout this conversation, it was only him. And I could have predicted that, sadly, honestly. I need men to be a little bit more, have some nuances in their submissions and their belief system and stuff, because it almost seems like they have an agenda and they're focused on that agenda, and this is how you miss it, because human beings are versatile. You can't put us in a box like that, just like you can't put God in a box, right? But it was only him. Honestly, throughout the conversation, that was maybe Anton was able. No, Anton had a difficult time holding six accountable, right? To people that want to hold people accountable, right? I just learned actually what they mean by accountable. Every time they say accountability, I'm always thinking punishment, right? But apparently they just want you to admit that you're wrong. That's it. That's easy. Come on, ladies, you can be held accountable, right?
Not what I find attractive, and again, that's my personal opinion. I don't find that attractive. That's not what's attractive to me is his look.
All these ladies are confused. They were confused.
No, I get that. So let's say he's mentally, spiritually, and emotionally connected with you. Would you lay up with Flavor Flav like hoops?
Come on, don't do Flavor Flav like that.
A man that picked me. So Flavor Flav would not try to get with me, because again, I'm also different.
All right, let's just end the conversation there. So again, she's not being genuine with the conversation. She had a rhetoric that she's trying to push down the throat of women, right? She would like to be the woman who holds other women accountable. That's how you get on the side of the man on this panel. And it's all cap. It's just like another Melanin King, sadly. Nah, it didn't work out. 6, I'm calling the cap all day long. And I think eventually, Trill had like a long stack of cap on his head. Yeah, I think that happened. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, welcome back. So on this segment, we're talking about Wendy Osefo. She's Nigerian American like myself, raised a lot earlier probably in America because her accent is more American than mine. And I brought this up because, again, we're talking today about family versus spouse, right? That's the main topic of this whole stream, this whole episode. And it's Real Housewives of Potomac, right? The Real Housewives of Real Housewives reality TV show franchise. They're in Potomac in Maryland, right? And she got on the show quite all right. Of course, it was opportunity to showcase Nigeria. Like Nigerians, we take over everything, right? Don't we? Right? That's why I say African first. Some people were thinking something else when I said African first. Well, African first is 50 countries. There's all kind of black people all over the place. You need strength, and strength is in numbers, right? So whatever you're trying to fight for, right? And whatever you're trying to fight for, you need numbers, okay? So having us as allies, it's not about ideas. So, but if you feel like you don't need allies, that's understandable. I'm sure you have your reasons, but you have an ally in me personally. African Americans, anytime, whatever you want to fight for your people, you absolutely have my support, okay? And I mean that, okay? And you have support of many Nigerians. Never mind the trolls. You do. We have our own battles, right? But as black people, we have a serious problem. We're always butting head, and this is a problem across board. Black people, and conversation for another time. We will keep having that conversation. As a matter of fact, right now in the comment area, I want to know what your opinions are in terms of black people coming together as a force to really, really fight the power of oppressions against black people around the world, right? And then also, I want you to speak to how the different tribes, because you have your tribe, I have my tribe, how they can still work on their own individual things. I want us to keep talking about that because that is a very important part of the conversation. I respect the Showores of this world. I respect the Tariq Nasheed of this world. I respect the people that are the activists in Africa, the Pan-Africanists, whatever your belief system, the self-determination people, the One Nation people. I respect all of that. It's not right and wrong. It's just our perspectives, In my opinion, I think black people generally have serious problems. With that being said, let's get back to Wendy Osefo, because I went through that. They showcased the Nigerian tribe. And there's all kind of rumors around cursed Nigerian tribe, all that bullshit. We're humans like everybody else, okay? So we have all kind of nonsense, cursed Nigerian tribe, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, this is their picture right here. They made it to the show and they showcased their family. And part of the things that was showcased is how this guy, what's his name? Eddie Osefo, the husband of Wendy, how he's been disconnected from his family, like basically because the mothers, they butted head, right? Because of that, they basically disengaged from his family. Now the mother was all over the show and she was showcased multiple times, but somehow this guy's family was not around. And this was very sad to see because I was almost in that situation before. I won't say almost, that's not fair, but I could smell it. I was like, wait, if I keep this behavior, if I keep encouraging certain behaviors, if I don't show up as a man, right, and put my foot down and do certain things that were risky too, because my wife had a place where she was coming from. She had certain insecurities and stuff like that. If I didn't handle it with care, I could potentially destroy families, which was almost destroyed in my case. I'll tell you that story another day. But I could see the struggle and the pain in this guy's eyes. The last and the worst thing ever is that you're doing some kind of christening for the baby, and your own parents could not be in the picture. I don't know what happened there, but I could predict it. This thing there's patterns everywhere. See, when people say, oh no, our experience is different, I was like, yeah, you're right. With that being said, there are patterns everywhere. I could see these things from afar, right? How come his family was not involved? How come he's the one that had to sacrifice important moments in the life of his kids, himself, and his family for the sake of peace? How come everyone? This is something that I stylishly kind of resent, not with my wife at all, but with the extended family. Extended family, like I said earlier in the earlier segment, they're irresponsible for the most part. And I've come to accept it as what it is, because again, they're not in your family. As a man, that's your responsibility. But when I see it, it still pisses me off. Like, back off. Like, you know how you see rain coming, like I called it earlier, I called it environmental factors, like the weather, like just things happening around that you can't control. The only thing you can do is learn how to navigate around it and still get to the result you're looking for. What you're looking for is a harmonious family, and frankly, his family are these 4 people you're looking at on the screen. That's just the bottom line. So when we say family versus spouse, right? The spouse is the family. I know the Simps don't like to hear this, okay? They don't like this. The person you chose to marry, you see when the scripture, that same scripture you like to quote when it's convenient for you, it says leave to cleave, right? Precisely. Your family is the family you started. Once you leave your mother, your father, you go start a family. So when you say family versus spouse, that's a stupid question, because the spouse is the family. Okay, everything else becomes secondary. Yes, including your mother, your siblings, right? Listen, I know it's very hard to make this decision. I know it can be hard for certain type of people. Sorry, you're not a simp. I'm sorry, okay? I know it's hard, okay? But it's like you're at a war, right? You're at war. You're on a war zone, a war front, and sometimes you have to make very tough decisions, right? And you have to make one priority over the other while you can still love both situations, right? In this case, the person you've chosen, that just makes sense if you don't want to destroy yourself. You go read Ephesians 5 period, right? You will see the structure there, because you can't hurt yourself. When you put yourself in a position to make your wife secondary, you're hurting yourself, precisely, okay? Because not only are you hurting yourself, your mother that you're trying to put on a pedestal cannot respect you because you're demonstrating that you're not man. And she can smell it. And she's a good woman like most of them. She probably would try to tell you, like, what are you doing, right? You don't have to do that. And you're probably like, nah, mom, you came first, right? Mommy's boy. Shut the hell up, okay? There is structure in life, and you have to learn how that works. Sometimes that's a difficult thing, but you have to be able to see this and say, okay, why? Now here's why, okay? When it's your wife, it's not about putting her on a pedestal. It's about treating everybody with respect, but everyone should be clear with the way you move. It's not something you have to say in words. I'm only saying this because I'm recording the video, right? It's not something you have to say in words. At some point, you just have to know that, hey, the wife, my children, she's gonna protect. If she feels good, everybody else will be happy. Oh yeah, this is all that going on, the happy wife, happy life thing. Yeah, motherfucker, exactly. You have a problem with that terminology because, again, you lack depth. Okay, some people say range. No, fuck range. You lack depth, because in life it's about depth. It's not about how many people you can make happy at the same time. No, you lose the battle by doing that. It's about certain depth. You go in deeper, and that takes care of everything else, right? And that's how life works, right? But your problem is that you're trying to apply leverage in the wrong point. Okay, if you take care of this, everything else will be happy. That's just how life works. It's not something you get to choose. And if you go try to take care of every one of this, just because you're stuck in your ego, you're going to destroy everything, because the right thing will not get the right amount of attention. So what is this thing in this situation? The person you choose to spend life with. I don't care if you're marrying 3, 4, 5 wives, the same principle applies. Sometimes it's going to be hard to make tough decisions, and it's hard to make, nothing is equal in life like that. You have to make a decision to strike at some point where it spreads out to everything else and make sure everything else is safe, right? So there was this video, when I said they just want to be African first, blah blah blah. This is where that video came from. He had nothing to do with the FBA. I know you probably came here because of that, but nah, I love my FBAs. We're moving on with the conversation. We're moving forward, all right? Conversation. But the truth is that when you start to, a lot of people see us and they want to be us, and they don't realize we have our own traumas. We have our own situations we're dealing with. And I want to play an example of it for you here, right? These people have their own problems, family issues, family feud, right? And when the family feuds, what did they say when the family feuds? Can you answer that in the comment? Let me play this short video for you, right?
The SIMP and C, or as we like to call it, the Kupete M1, is definitely the highlight of my first season.
The beautiful baby.
Uh-oh. Let's see if we can get that load.
I want to be Nigerian. Can I be Nigerian? For, the viewers to be able
She want to be a Nigerian.
Culture.
Is Gizelle Bryant, is she foundational Black American? That's not the first person that I've heard want to be a Nigerian. As a matter of fact, one of my favorites in this space, Jolasun Just J wants to have Nigerian. I give her a Nigerian name. I think I give her a second one. Yeah, I give her Bisola as a second name. Hopefully she remembers that and she watches this. But anyway, yeah, it's not a bad thing. Let me tell you something. Let me give you some news flash. There's so many Nigerians that want to be Black Americans so bad. They watch the hip hop videos. They've been watching hip hop videos all their life. They wanted to be Tupac. They wanted to be Jay-Z. They wanted to be Biggie. They know every line. I can't see. We tend to forget to shed light on the beautiful part about all of these things, but we want to fight, right? I get it. Politics bring in the negative part of us, but anyway. No fight, okay? If you want to learn more about Nigerian culture and stuff like that, I will keep injecting a little bit here and there over time. I am an American by birth, Nigerian by heritage. I'm a Nigerian American. I am a proud Nigerian. Did I say that properly? Right? So here's the truth, okay? We will continue to have this conversation until we figure it out. These are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free. By simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. So we're talking about the problem with the dating pool is women. This is what the young people are saying. What is wrong with those people? All right, they're just being people in 2022. We're going to help them. You and I together will help each other, right? If you're saying statements like this, if you're saying statements like the problem with the dating pool is women, you're precisely a simp. You're entitled to your intentions. Intentions are overrated. Your expectations are too high of women. Women are just women. They just are. You have to become. That's how the society is set up, especially when it comes to romance. All right. And there are benefits in there for you, but you're not going to get to the benefits if you keep whining and bitching and complaining. You won't. Okay. But let's react to this video. This video is from the long streams that Anton does on the weekend on the channel. Sometimes I stumble in for 3 minutes and I catch this crazy ass conversation going on. I'm like, what is wrong with this? And here was one of those moments. Let's get into it.
The pool of women that men are dealing with, suddenly everybody wants to shift the goalposts. Why can't we focus on the fact that there's an issue in the dating pool when it comes to the women? We want to always shift.
When it comes to the women, they're always shifting goalposts. All right, so we've been shifting the goalposts. I've been listening to this conversation for at least a year. And we've been shifting this goalpost. Isn't it high time we realize that maybe the goalpost does not belong where you're trying to place it, right? Let's keep going.
Because you're not trying to date all women. You just need one.
No,
Okay, so we're talking about the dating pool. You only need one woman. That's one of the problems right there. Right there is one of the problems. You have men. Now, I get it. They have some kind of experience that's not too, that's not too pleasurable. And then you now have an idea of what the women are supposed to be doing, right? And then you're justifying it by saying, hey, the community, nuclear family, women needs to move a certain way, right? And we're forgetting that you as an individual, right? You had an experience. You only need one woman, right? And you have the opportunity to ask questions from people that are doing it properly. But of course, you have data. You have empirical data that you want to argue about. And you rather argue about that than to actually learn the skill set. Because this is power play, right? This is actually a game, right? That requires skill set. You rather argue than actually ask questions, right? I get it. You're not going to listen until you fall flat on your face. You're just not going to listen. Let's keep listening.
Well, the reason why I do that specifically is because when we're talking about being
shout out to Mandrell on the panel.
It's a very clear path. People want to do, specifically men, and I think that it always starts at the head, want to do whatever it is that they want to do, and then they don't want to own the results that come along with it. The one thing that I've always...
That's a fact. We see, Anton, I have this love and hate relationship with his rhetorics. This part I agree with, like 50% of everything he says, right? About 50% or so, right? This conversation started with this gentleman, Omar Smith. Omar, shout out to Omar. Omar was on point. He was coming from the standpoint of Islamic. And this guy, JB, was trying to put him in a box. Was asking him a question, and the guy was like, there's no answer. He was trying to say, hey, what is the percentage? So how many women? And the guy's like, there's no percentage. It is the women follow you. They follow you. Either you realize it not, even when they're emasculating you, they're basically following your move. If you're not sure of yourself as a man, if you're asking by bitching around a woman, if you're asking for permission to lead all the time, she will lead. You're basically asking her to lead. You're basically operating out of her frame, and she will effectively lead, because I'll tell you right now, you don't like to hear this. Femininity, right? The idea of submission, right, is conditional. Is that news flash to you? That's the reality. Oh yeah, I know there's a pastor that's trying to tell you that women are supposed to do it out of duty. Well, that's not the reality, okay? It's just not, okay? The woman is moving according to how you're moving, right? To a large extent. So it's not absolute, but to a large extent, right? So a lot of patients, especially if you've created damages, one of the ways you create damage is by running your mouth online. People are now watching you. They're looking at you because of your rhetorics online, right? They can hear you. And if you get in a relationship if they get in a relationship with you, right? They're watching you, and they're not going to give you that much grace. If you were quiet, you will get a lot more grace from your women. Let me tell you something. For those of us that have been doing it for a while, I've been doing it for 15 years, right? Married 15 years, been with my girl for 18 years, right? We get a lot of grace. We're not perfect, right? But it's easier to get grace when you don't run your mouth online. And now you keep running your mouth because I have videos to react to, right? But I'm warning you right now. If you run your mouth and you find a girl in this space, God help you find a girl, you're going to have a lot less grace, because she's going to judge you even further with the way you judge. Remember that verse in the Bible? With the same measure that you judge, that's how you're going to be judged. You're going to need grace in relationships. You're going to need to move in faith. You're going to need a lot of grace. Sometimes you're going to get away with just doing the wrong thing. She's going to get away with doing the wrong thing too. There's no perfect relationship. We're enjoying it because we enjoy a lot of grace and back and forth. You thought people were just being held accountable and they're perfect. You're full of shit. If you haven't realized that yet, see people that don't give themselves grace, you know where they end up? In the divorce court. They become clients to the TLA.
About leadership is that you can't have it both ways. Either you want all of the glory or you don't want none of it. And men want the glory.
If you're trying to be the leader, right?
They eat it. They want sexiness. They want all of the benefits that come along with having control and leadership and determining. And we often say, and we quote it all the time, men control access to marriage. Okay, well, if you want all of that, then you got to take what comes with it. If you want all of the glory, then you also have to take...
So at this point, I said, why should I take all of that? Because it's highly rewarding. Did you hear what I just said? You're going to get a lot of grace. But you have to give it first. You have to sow those seeds first. You have to sow those seeds first. But if you're so focused on holding women accountable, when you get with a girl, now you're actively trying to hold her accountable for every time she makes the wrong move. You're going to get the same energy back because you need grace too, right? Does that mean there's no set principles? It doesn't mean that. I'm saying all of that is even more effective when you lead with some grace. You move in faith and you lead with grace. And then whatever rules you want to set is even a lot more effective in that kind of space. You create the environment, you set the tone, and she builds the home, right? The dating pool is a function of you. Because again, like this young lady, Elle, over here, I don't know if that's her, but she said, you only need one woman. You only need one. Why are you worried about what percentage of black people, if you continue to worry about that, guess what you're going to attract? One of those. I know that doesn't make any sense. It's not scientific. It's physics. We need to calculate the physics and chemical calculations to get. See how you're hurting yourself, man. Life is really not that deep. It's really not that deep.
Responsibility that comes along with not being the thing not being the thing and not getting the results. It's easy. It's a very easy thing.
See, shout out to Empress.
It's not easy. It's simple.
Right? Because I'm glad she's saying this, right? Because every time, this is the one topic. Every time
right.
you shift the goalpost. Because
so every time we accuse women of having the need to be right, they're nagging the end of sign language, but we end up doing it. Come on, gentlemen. Come on. We sit on the internet on panels and we do this. You go back to the same argument because you're just not trying to hear it. They move the goalpost. We need to hold women accountable. The dating pool is messed up because of these women. Really? Oh, actually, to be fair, he didn't say this women. He said we need to talk about the women part. See, and there's a bunch of them. Content creators online, they claim that they're always talking to men, and it's only when we talk to women that you're calling those out. I'm yet to see one, okay? Even including Kevin Samuels, right? Kevin Samuels, he used to talk to. I know he did, but there's a reason why he didn't blow up at that time, right? Clearly, no one was paying attention, right? But anyway, right now, what do you know that's really holding men accountable without being called a simp? Even Kevin Samuel is being called a simp right now because he's saying, y'all are full of shit. I need to build a business. Right? You can't make this shit up. In the words of Kevin Samuels, right? So, gentlemen, we don't have enough space where we're holding ourselves accountable. We can't tolerate it. We're nagging more. Okay, we're shaming, insulting, guilt stripping, and nagging more. Okay, especially the young ones. Actually, that's not fair. There are old divorced ones that are doing the same thing. They pull out all this data and they just need to prove a point. They rather prove a point than actually build successful relationships. And these are your struggles. But we're going to keep having the conversation. We're going to figure this out, gentlemen. And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3-time author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, here we go. This is a reaction I've been trying to do for like a week or so. Finally get into it, right? Well, this particular topic, to be honest with you, was a topic that I picked up from a conversation I was having on Sahil's channel, and I think they're gonna have that topic again later. But I thought it was some interesting insights, and it was about this gentleman, which I was on his platform, Womenosphere. Shout out to Womenosphere versus Manosphere. And his suggestion was that if you're about to be married as a woman, you need to drop all your single friends. You need to drop all your single friends. So there's some part of this conversation that I thought fit into that, and then I'll come back. Let's just react to this video, and then I'll come back. I'll talk about if women should drop their single friends when they're about to get married. Like, I had a question for him after he said that, and I'm going to come up with that question here in a second. And I'm still waiting for the answer from him, but I'll talk about it here, right? So let's get started.
I can trust on the planet. Really?
Okay, then say that. Okay, then so say that. So you know how to trust your partner, then say that. That's what
If you doesn't mean your
So
partner's the only.
what they're talking about is Kayla is saying, I trust my mother, so I can share some things about my marriage with her, right? And Six has a good point here that you should be sharing everything with your spouse, right? Now, to a lot of young ladies, this seems unrealistic, but sometimes if they don't fall flat on their face, they're not going to learn, right? For those of us that have been doing this for a while, we know that it's an absolutely no-no. You don't take issues about your marriage to your parents. Your parents will single-handedly destroy your marriage without knowing that's what they're doing. It's not deliberate. It's not intentional. It's just the way favoritism and, them taking sides or actively not trying to take sides, the default bias that comes into that kind of situation. Even when they're actively not trying to take your side, it still comes off as taking sides, right? This is why we say don't do it. And when we say don't do it, we're speaking from experience because we've done it and it always 100% of the time backfires. See, when you move on from your issues, your parents and your friends, they don't move on. You move on, but they have the power to influence you later when other events happen to remind you that, remember he did this, and you're already forgotten, but they will remind you, right? So bad idea altogether. So I'm with Six on this one, but Kayla is making a point that's not too off,
In your life,
You don't trust your partner. Say that. You trust your mama more.
You don't trust nobody else but your partner.
You said that from the beginning. Then
You don't trust nobody else but your partner. That's the only person.
your partner
Now,
should
what
be
other
the
person
number
you
one
don't trust?
person that you trust. You are not sleeping with your mama every night, ma'am.
But what does that have to do
Your
with
mama
trusting
is
your
not
mom?
in the in and
Just
outs of
because
your
I have a
relationship.
man, that means I don't
You
trust
talk
my
about
mom
your
all of a
mama is
sudden?
the one that.
So nobody's saying you don't trust your mom. It's a little bit deeper than common sense. I keep telling people that common sense is a terrible guide to life. Common sense says that, of course, you really trust your mom, right? But once you've had some experience in life, you realize that it has nothing to do with trusting your mom. It's zero. There's no correlation between the word of wisdom that you should not take your marriage issues to your parents and common sense. It's no correlation, because I guarantee you 100% of the time that your common sense is common, right? Everybody else thinks that same way until they fall flat on their face, right? And that's what Six is trying to say here. But something that people don't talk about in this question is there's a healthy balance. You also don't want to put too much weight on the idea of partnership between you and your husband. There is such a thing as too much weight. Yes, there is such a thing as you can absolutely bastardize everything I just said in the last 2 minutes to the point where you're clingy and you don't have your own individualism, and you're going to be taken for granted, right? So you need a healthy balance where you have a solid relationship with your mother, but just not issues that has to do with your husband and you, intimate issues between you and your husband and your family. You absolutely should never be taking that to your mother. I don't care how much you trust her, because that's not relevant. It's precisely because you trust her. It's precisely because she will actively try to protect you, even if that means to destroy your relationship without her necessarily trying to do that. You see, so it's I don't know, there are real life examples that I will start showcasing here very soon. And then you will see how this kind of things play out. People don't mean any harm. That's why I say intentions are overrated. They don't intend to destroy, but they effectively destroy, right? Just because you haven't heard things like this before, right? So Kayla, I understand where she's coming from. I trust my mama, but also she's not married. So maybe she's speaking from a place of lack of experience. But there's actually, to be fair to her, there are people that are married that would argue this until they die. Right? And they will destroy their relationship. Sometimes they destroy the relationship internally, meaning they stay in it, but they're suffering, right? Because they refuse to really adhere to some of this wisdom, right, that we're talking about right now. But it's very, very simple. It's precisely because you trust her. It's because she also, remember, she trusts you. So she hasn't really seen you in a space of romance. So every time you act out of character, the only way that your husband can see, she doesn't get to see that. So even if your husband is narrating, is telling her, this happened to me, he's telling her, like, this is what she did, right? She can't relate because she hasn't seen you in that light. So she will actively see your husband as potentially a liar, right? Because she's never seen you that way. She's never seen you out of your character. I have friends going through that right now, where situations where they don't recognize her. Her family doesn't recognize her because she's showing a different behavior they had not seen in 30 years of her life. Right? This is how it works. It will change you, right? Because it's you're growing, and it's a forced kind of growth, right? And that's what they did. Nobody talks about the nuances. It's the same thing when you ask somebody that just got married to drop all of our single friends. So I asked the gentleman, AR from Manosphere, I asked him, I said, what is the downside of doing that? Okay, what is the upside? I guess the upside is that you just focus on the marriage. Your marriage is for life. You should just stay with your husband. I'm guessing, because I really haven't gotten the answer, and I don't want to speak for him. I'm hoping I'll get that answer this coming weekend, right? Then I asked, what's the downside of asking your wife to drop all of our single friends? Then the other question that I have is that, why are you with a person that you're not really cool with their single friends? And you were with them, you stayed with them, you married them, and then once you get married, you're asking them to dump their friends. When you call someone a friend, do you know what that means? That means if they haven't really offended you, you are about to create a bunch of resentment by asking them to drop their friends. Oh no, but you should just be focused on, oh yeah, security boss was there too. But I kind of trust security boss, but I don't think she was able to hear the full context of what that guy was saying. And I would be interested in hearing the rest of the conversation, right? When you just face your marriage, that's it. Remember, we're not talking about people that never had friends, because security boss fell in the category, it's a lady content creator, she fell in the category of somebody who didn't have friends anyway, so she doesn't count. We're talking about somebody that had friends. Yes, they are single, right? But you want them to just basically let go of all those friends just because they are married. And this is not what they want to see. If they want to do that, that's perfectly fine, because then there's nothing to talk about, right? But if you're setting this as some kind of rules or principle, and especially if they're not aware you're about to make, because some people don't say it, like, I would like you to drop all your friends. People just don't come to the table and say, I would like you to drop all your friends. If you said that, there's a good chance they'll say, no, I'm not going to do that, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? It just doesn't make any sense, right? But if they did, that means they're probably pandering to that, and they thought they could do it. But when it's actually time to do that, is there a guarantee they will be able to do that? Now, if they're not able to do that in a timely manner, is that going to create friction between you and your wife? What are the downsides of asking your wife, your brand new wife, to drop all of her single friends, right? Now, here's another part that we're forgetting. Do you forget that lifestyles will actually naturally change if you just relax? As a man, if you just relax, like, it's not that deep, like, relax, like, flow with it, right? Yeah, goddamn it, flow with it, right? Like, leverage the ocean trend in your favor. Naturally, she's going to be spending the most time with you. She's not going to have the same lifestyle as them. If you're just patient, these people are going to drop off like dead flies anyway, right? But if you don't wait, if you're not patient, you're going to force her into this principle. She's probably actively trying to make you happy too. But eventually, some events are going to happen in that marriage, and she will need a little shoulder to cry on besides yours. Yes, I know you think, it should be yours. No, you're full of shit, okay? Beside yours, and she won't have an outlet. She's going to resent you. These are the possibilities. It doesn't have to be, but these are the possibilities in real life. How do I know? Because I've been that guy. I've been that guy who wasn't too comfortable with friends around. I didn't even say they should go away. It's just that my attitude showed, and it became something else. And then you could turn around and say, hey, some of you think, because I had a Nigerian wife, I don't go through the same thing. I went through the same shit. So yeah, but I know I can't convince you. I get it. Okay, I went through the same shit, and I had to learn some of these things the hard way, and eventually I had to see these things from afar. Patience is powerful. Relax. Why are you trying to get rid of the friends so quick? They're going to drop off like dead flies anyway, because the lifestyles don't fit. It doesn't fit, right? And if your focus should to make sure that she feels safer running to you, because women don't like each other like that a lot of times anyway, right? Especially if their lifestyles don't fit. But if you knew that, you would just relax and not try to force everything. Like, come on, gentlemen, you have to relax. It's 2022. It's really not 1960. You can't be swimming against the trend of the ocean. You will drown yourself. These are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, welcome. I've got this movie that I want to watch together with you. I think you're going to be blessed by it. And it was a conversation that I was having on Clubhouse, and I taped myself, and I wanted to test something like this out anyway, and I want to hear your opinion about it. And it's called The Problem with Modern Dating Culture. I think somebody asked me a question, and I decided to talk a little bit. I was a little bit all over the place, but I think you're going to pick 1 or 2 things out of it that you will like, right? And I want to hear your thoughts about it as well. So let's get into it. He's vetted his wife, right? And he's been married for a whole two years or so. I'm like, wow, congratulations to that. Somebody asked him and said, who graded the paper? And that was a fantastic question, right? See, the truth of the matter is that the world we live in right now, people are divorcing at 15 years of marriage. People are divorcing at 30 years of marriage. And yes, white people, the ones we try to paint as, oh, they figured this marriage thing out. Hey, yeah, their women are always loyal. White people, they're the worst. They're the one that leave their husband at 40 years, 42 years of marriage. For real reasons. And their men are also, they have their own place, manosphere, where they're crying on YouTube as well. Right? So, let's be aware. There's a new order in town. Okay? And it's here to stay, and it's not going to leave. And if you don't learn it, you're going to suffer. And running away from marriage is not going to help you. Running away from relationships is not going to help you. Running away from love is not going to help you. Because you're still going to engage other types of relationship, and the same skill sets are required. They are. You have to learn how to manage your emotions before attempting to manage other people's emotions. Okay? You have to learn how to make moves of faith, meaning you understand that there's always limited information. While it's okay to acquire information, you should understand that there are limitations to those information. One of the first limitations is that it's based on your interpretation. Your interpretation is flawed in all types of ways that you haven't even seen yet. You have no context. That's what we were saying earlier, almost an hour ago, right? Your interpretations are limited. They are what they are. They are shaped by your experiences, by what somebody else has taught you, maybe by some culture, religion, whatever you were raised with, which is basically set up on other people's limitations, right? What they knew. And the one thing about God is that you can't put him in a box. That's the mistake that most people keep making. You can't put God in a box. As a matter of fact, I just tried to do that by calling him a him, right? It's all kind of fallacies all over the place. We have limitations as human beings. You have to stay humble, period. And I mean that by every level of ramifications. Like if you take anything away from what I just said, humility. Just actively listening, actively be interested in other people, because people are representations of God on earth. You cannot claim that you love God and you don't love people to the point that you're willing to listen to other perspectives, even if it completely conflicts with your core, with what you believe in. You're not listening to suddenly just believe. You're listening to collect insights so that you can create your own rules, your own game of life. Because this life is a game. It's not a joke. It's a game that you have to learn how to play. And yes, ladies, you too, because you don't have the luxury of men saying, let woman be woman. You don't have that. Clearly, if you listen to this room long enough, you don't have that luxury anymore. This men, they are willing to get into their feminine energy and hold you accountable if that's what it takes. So what does that mean for you? Because you can't say, hey, they're going to stay single and buy a dog and die. You can't say that, because that also means you too. Just the same way the men can afford to do that. Because at the end of the day, we need each other. That's why we're butting head. If we didn't need each other, we would just be indifferent and everybody would do their own thing. But the reason for the arguments is because obviously we need each other, right? So we got to figure something out. We have to figure something out. And what we need to figure out is like, okay, what has social construct done to us? What has the socialization, which is part of the, it's not something you can blame on people, it's just a characteristic of human beings, right? What has that done to us? How is it evolving, right? How has that affected the society we live in? How can I make up rules to still get what I want? Because it's still very important that you get what you want, right? But also don't lose yourself too much, but also be respectful of the society you find yourself. Don't be so arrogant to the point where you say, I don't care. I don't care. My rules are my rules. Well, that's not how it works, right? That's simply not how it works. And you need to be extremely aware about what I am saying. That you're a social being. The reason why you're arguing at the top of your lungs is because you care. If you have to tell me that you don't care, you clearly care, right? If you have to tell me that you whatever, that means you're not too sure of whatever it is you're calling yourself. Because if you're so sure, I think it will just speak for itself. Even if it doesn't speak for itself, results will speak for itself, right? So I'm rambling a little bit here. Let me go back to the point. What is the struggle? I agree 100% that it is unrealistic expectations. Guess what? Why most divorces are happening? The data is saying finance or infidelity or any of these stupid things, that talking points that people say, because that's what people answer when they ask them the question. When they ask those 10,000 people at most the sample, the answer is finance. But that's the symptom. Okay, that's just those things that they record are the symptoms. There are underlying issues that made finance a problem, right? When a woman says, not a typical woman by the way, but if any woman says no finance, no romance, right? She's saying like, listen, if you're broke, I don't feel safe and secured, right? That's probably also coming from different other variables. It could also be because she's a gold digger, but usually that's not the case. Usually it's because there's no woman that's comfortable with having to struggle for bills. You're not comfortable with struggling for bills, so why would you think a woman would be comfortable with that, right? So if effectively you went and invested in some kind of shit, some cryptocurrency, and you lost a bunch of money, and you came back to your wife and you say, hey, we lost money, and then she filed for divorce, which is a fact that 80% of divorces are filed for by women, but it's because of other things that happened that never make it to the spreadsheet, right? And then they now ask her, what was the cause of this divorce? And she writes down either irreconcilable difference or she writes finance, right? And then because you've been listening and soaking in the wrong guru on YouTube, you run around and say, there you go, she's a gold digger. See, you missed a big piece of what created that situation, right? Because again, data is always going to be a lagging indicator. There are other things that happened, and your ability to dig a little bit deeper and to start to unpack these things is going to help you maintain a long-term relationship that obviously you want. Because if you don't want long-term relationships, you wouldn't be listening to me if you're hearing me. If you didn't want it, you wouldn't be engaging in conversations about it. If you didn't want it, you won't become a gospeler of stay away from marriage. Right? Again, your actions, consistent actions over time, speak louder than your words. Right? And yes, there's no absolute in anything I just said. There could be an exception. Right? Some people are actively trying to recruit people into their world, but they're very, very, yeah, they're the exceptions. They're not the ones you will see. They're not most of them. Okay? Most of them that are loud about this kind of topics because they care, they want it, but they're trying to figure it out. They can't understand what is going on. So I think we're in a place where we really need to rise to a level of emotional intelligence. What that means is that you understand your own emotions. When I say that, most people think we're trying to say, hey, you must pander to other people. No, we're saying understand your own emotions. Why is it that you have the feelings that you have? Right? It takes a lot of work to dig deeper to that level to understand that. When you do that, naturally you will pick up other people's emotional flaws or intelligence or whatever it is. You'll be able to read minds. So people ask me, so why are people asking us to read minds? I think we started this conversation with that, right? Why are people expecting people to read minds? Because, hey, you have to read minds. You're dealing with emotional beings. Sometimes they can't express themselves, not because they don't want to. It's because emotions are they're very powerful. So even when they try to shape it into words and say it to you, they're kind of sugarcoating. They don't want to offend you. These are real things. They don't want to offend you. They're pandering, all of that, right? They don't, because offending you can take them backwards. They also don't like that feelings of offending you. They care. Like all of that becomes what you may have considered ineffective communication before, right? That's why you have to engage actively listening, because with time, they will naturally feel safe in expressing themselves to you. And that's really what you want your partner to be, to feel like you're the safest zone for them to come to. That's what you want them to be. Okay? You want them to feel like you are the safest zone to come to without jeopardizing your own mental health. All right? Because again, like I said, some people are just bad. They're very, very minority. Okay? So for your case that you're very quick to accuse people or diagnose people with narcissistic behavior, there's a good chance they're not narcissistic, at least not at the clinical level. Everyone has a little bit of narcissism in them, right? Because what it simply means is that they care about their own feelings at the very minute level, right? But when you start to diagnose people, there are certain criteria that has to align before you can diagnose people with narcissistic behavior or narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. And people are self-diagnosing their spouse all day long just because they haven't taken the time to work on themselves. Working on yourself is probably most likely impossible before marriage, because you don't have context. You don't have a frame of reference to even know what you're working on. So slowing down your natural progression in building relationships just because you want to build yourself is, that falls short too. I know people like to say that self-actualization, self-something before. It's usually bullshit. You don't even know what you're working on. You haven't been put into that place of test. You will be tested inevitably. So just like a baby start walking, they will fall. They don't because they're going to fall. Let me learn how to walk before I start to walk. That's not how that works. You have to start walking. You fall, you learn. You fall a little bit, you will learn, and eventually you stand up. If you wait too long, you will need therapy to teach you how to walk. Have you ever seen adults that need to learn how to walk? They need help, professional help. Like if somebody has an accident, they need professional help to be able to walk again, because they know too much. They know how it feels to fall, so they don't want to fall. Right? So waiting too long because you need to master everything before that's a bad idea. Right now, you need to learn how to make moves of faith. As you're learning, you're making moves of faith. If you have fear from past relationship, that's something you need to work on and heal from, because that will affect you. And if you listen to too much bad rhetorics online, you may need to switch up. Maybe you need to completely disconnect your present YouTube account, clean your cache, clean your, the cookies, right? And start a fresh brand new YouTube account and plug into the right channels. And then you will see that YouTube will only feed you stuff that you're eating on. Right? So same thing with here, This room is a little tricky, right? Because there's a lot of buzzbars, right? A lot of negative stuff going on. But if you read my bio, you will see why I plug in here sometimes. It's because also some of the things you hear are reality. That you're hearing here are reality. If you see the man talk and it comes off toxic, at least you know what's going on with people's mind now, so you can work accordingly. You know what their concerns are. Doesn't mean you have to take it as gospel truth, but these are real things that's going through people's mind, and you just need to be aware of them. All right. Welcome back. So yeah, I just 15 minutes, 15 minutes of just rambling. But I thought some things that I wanted to know if there's anything you picked up from that. I would like to hear it in the comment area. And yes, let's move on to the next topic. And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free. By simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, welcome back. So on this episode is for men in general. But I think anyone can benefit from it. Ladies, you can also benefit from it. I wanted to talk about understanding hierarchy and authority, right? Hierarchy and authority. And this is very important because one of the things that I've seen in this space is people lacking the ability to read a room. That's one thing, right? That's a little bit similar, a little bit, correlate. But precisely, people have a problem with authority in this new generation. And there are many ways that they show it. One of the ways that they show it is, for example, I could be listening to someone talk. And right now, I personally don't feel like I have the authority to ask, how old are you? Even if it's a man that looks a whole lot younger than me. It could be the age of my son. My son is 13, right? And and they were like, what does that matter, right? Or you could be like, are you married? Like the conversations could be about marriage or relationship in general, and you say, are you married? And there's like, why should that matter? Well, I'll tell you why it matters. It's because honestly, the highest authority in all of this is experience. Like not even your teacher in school, right? Experience. Like when people have had experience, even if they don't have the results or desired or desirable results, that experience is something you want to tap into, because at the very minimum they can share with you what not to do, right? At the very minimum, and that will be extremely valuable to you. You would agree, right? All right, so that's one, right? So usually age or marital status, right? I've played a video here before. I did a reaction video to Nick at Night. Right after I did a reaction to the video between her and TLA, right? Where this woman, a lady, was asked if she was married, and then she said, it depends. That's after she ranted on and gave basically intellectual diarrhea about marriage, right? And there's a lot of people like that in the social media space. And honestly, I personally don't think anything is wrong with it. But in the same token, I don't think anything is wrong when people hear your words. If they hear immaturity in your voice and they say, hey, how old are you? I don't see anything wrong with that. But that's precisely what they call, we're policing them. So back to the topic, hierarchy and authority, right? What we find, I don't want to be one of those people that seems like you're old and now you're telling people, I promise you that's not what I'm trying to do. Now you're telling people they should be respectful to their elders. I promise that's not even my personality. That's not what I'm trying to do. For those of you that followed me from Clubhouse, you know that I am it's probably 2 other people that are older than me, right? And I'm okay with just acting cool. Everybody call me by my name, my first name, Ola, and I'm okay. I like it that way because honestly, I feel young. I feel 20 years younger, and I like to keep it that way. You know what I mean? Right? So, but I also don't want you to do you a disservice by not telling you this part of the equation, this part of what I call the power play, For those of you that are Nigerians, hopefully some of you are here, you understand this. You get this part of politics in Nigeria. For every big politician that you know right now, there's once upon a time, probably less than 20 or 15 years ago, this person was carrying somebody's Bible. somebody's pocketbook, right? And they were following them, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. And then that person has become the governor right now. Some of you know who I'm talking about, the governor of a whole state. And you may look at that as a terrible example, since some of those people are corrupt politicians. But that has nothing to do with what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is that sometimes it looks like you're taking an L short term because of hierarchy. In every community you go to, gentlemen, you have to be aware that there's hierarchy and there's authority. All right, and if it's not that obvious, ask someone. Would we defer to here? Right? And here's why I'm saying that. There was something that happened in a little community I'm a part of, where a young 19-year-old man decided to be disrespectful to everyone and basically call people out and say to hell with them and nothing's gonna happen, all this, all that, right? And he got kicked out of the community. But come to find out that it's the same repetitive problem over and over again. It's just someone who is not willing to listen. They, probably because, again, what can you tell a 19-year-old? They know everything that you know from a knowledge standpoint, from an intellectual standpoint. They're probably even smarter than you. IQ's high up there, right? But anybody that has lived life, you understand that it's not what you know, it's who you know. That's the reality. See, some of you like to face reality, but you forget that the reality is that you lack experience. When I ask you, how old are you? I'm not asking so I can belittle you. As a matter of fact, I'm asking you as an opportunity to have you earn additional respect, because you're already in a conversation with me, and there's a good chance that I feel like you're younger than me, probably potentially 10 years or a lot more younger than me, right? So you already earned enough respect to even be in my presence and be talking to me. That means I respect you, because if I don't respect you, I won't engage you, period. But then I am now offering additional opportunity to earn additional respect by asking your age. And the way you answer that is everything, bro. Everything. Literally. It's everything. The way you answer that is everything. So if you go and say, oh, I'm 28. I'll be like, oh, wow. Interesting. That's probably what you're going to get from me. I understand there are some other people that will say, no wonder you're a little boy. Yes, there's some people. But again, even at that, you're supposed to own your age with your full chest, right? Because it's an indication of your experience and you've earned it, whatever your age is, right? But again, the idea of running away from answering that question as a man, I understand women will say, hey, you don't ask a lady. I get that part. That's whatever. That's chivalry, right? I get that. But to the ladies, if you start to talk out of your ass, I can hear it, right? I can feel it. I feel like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I say, are you married? You have to own with your full chest that you are single, because you will earn that much respect from me as well, right? Just by being okay with you being asked that question. And even if I cross the line, what am I talking about? I'm talking about hierarchy and authority. That is lacking. The reason for hierarchy and authority, here's the reason. It's for structure. The world is chaotic as it is already, right? But you know that as much as we like varieties, we like certainty. And the only way to create certainty is to build some kind of structure, right? Whatever result you're looking to achieve, as I was saying earlier, is who you know, is not what you know. And sometimes the level of humility you bring into context, into conversations, will have people bowing to your feet, looking for ways to bless you, looking for ways to add more value to your life. But if you're leading with arrogance and you're like, hey, it's just a debate, you'll be right. but you can also be rightfully missing out on serious opportunities because you just never know who you're talking to. You don't know. Oh my God, all the opportunities in this world that you're going to achieve in this lifetime is already in the hands of someone. Yes, it's already in the hands of someone. Someone is in possession of the money you're going to make right now. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, but it depends on how you move. It's going to flow to you or flow away from you, right? Even value. The other day I was talking to someone about how Russia lost about 33% of the value of the Russian market value, right, in the first 3 days that they invaded Ukraine. And to be frank with you, that's how value works generally speaking. It's neither you thought that 33% like it just disappeared. No, he went into the hands of other people, right, or other group of people or other countries or something like that, either in the form of some kind of form of energy, because again, energy is neither created nor destroyed. It transforms into other forms and it moves from one form to the other, and you need to be aware of that. So the point here is that hierarchy and authority creates structure. Humility, right? Humility, the way you bring humility into a context is to make sure you identify the authority, especially you gentlemen. Identify the authority. Authority could be younger than you. Be okay with that. Listen, the cream always rises to the top. It will flow to you if it belongs there. In weird ways, sometimes it's not as straightforward. But your own job is to bring some humility into the equation, and you can still be assertive. You can also add value, right? You can be masculine in how much value you add as opposed to what you're about to take. Does that make sense? And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3-times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, so here we have Coach Greg Adams. Okay, I think it's the second time ever I will react to his content. This is all used in fair use and within the fair use guidelines of YouTube. He said, now I'm probably taking him out of context. I didn't listen long enough. But again, a lot of young men that are listening to this stuff, they don't listen long enough. Okay, so I'm apologizing in advance because there is a chance I'll be taking him out of context, right? He said the only way for marriage or long-term relationships to last is for the man to be a simp. All right. So when a young man who is 19, 22 years old, when they don't know any better, they already experienced rejections in high school and is still resentful about that, right? If they hear that kind of line, right, how do you think they're going to interpret that? All right, how? There are grown men who still interpret happy wife, happy life as something that it isn't, right? There are grown men like that. They're everywhere, right? They take it completely out of context and they use it to fit their rhetorics. They don't think they're a man unless somebody tells them they're a man. Yeah. So we have this man here. He says a lot of things that make sense, but there's a lot of triggering things that trigger the active simps in his comment, right? That they just like to hear these things and they translate it to their real life. Let's be honest. They take it back to their real lives, and it backfires badly because then they realize that's not the reality. You can't just talk anyhow and expect to have anyhow results. You will actively create the result you get, either you like it or not. So I want to play these 2 videos and then assess it together, and I want to point out how it can be taken out of context and probably had some context, hopefully without discrediting. And if I discredit it, I'm sorry,
Legal ways and socially, according to the court of public opinion. How many ways can a wife punish a husband? All right, go ahead and name that.
How many ways can a wife
A lot
punish
of
your
ways.
husband?
A lot of ways. One of these ways right here. Where is that at?
I haven't showered in 3 days and I smell like a bag of onions. Is any of this turning you off? Nothing?
So, in our society, we have numerous ways in which men can get in trouble with their wives, but we have very few ways, if any, which a man can legally punish his wife, and the society will say, yep, she deserved every single bit of it.
So we're talking about punishment of a wife, right? What kind of man is listening to this and getting excited about the idea of punishing your wife, right? Let's be frank. Let's not put any cap on it, right? What kind of man is hearing this and is getting overly excited, even at the audible sound of punishment of a wife? Like, they're not even trying to hear the rest of the story. They're just like, wife, discipline, punishment, accountability, right? Is that a healthy thing? To you, I'm asking you. If you think that's a healthy thing, I want you to tell me how you think that's a healthy thing in the comment. I want you to give me some context, because maybe I'm going to learn something new, right? Right? So I'm not discounting that there's a real reason why somebody will be looking for punishment for their wife. I get it that people could end up in a sexless marriage. People could get emotionally blackmailed by their wife, by a woman, let's be clear, not just a random man, right? Our society, numerous ways, as he says, right?
And this is what I'm talking about. This is how being becomes subservient, because if there was a guy that said, no, I'm going to hold the line, I'm going to hold her accountable for these decisions that she made, and I'm going to punish her. I'm going to make her sleep on the couch. She's in trouble with me. She's in trouble with the husband.
Now, you could do that. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Not the society, unless your own enslavement or subservient to the ideas of the society. If you're just that much of a man and you shouldn't worry about social constructs, why just try to do it? Just do it. If you have your masculine, where's your masculine frame? Just do it. Just tell her to go sleep on the couch. Let's see how that plays out for you, right? Now, here's the thing. You could try that, or you could say, hey, maybe I have power in other ways. Or you could ask further questions. Say, how much? Well, this is weird. It's not fair. How can I gain some power? Right? Well, I can tell you, the moment you use the word fair, I knew that you lost your masculine frame a long time. That word right there, anytime a man says that's not fair, with respect to their relationship with a woman, that is more so of a simple word to me. But he's going to give us some examples in a second. Wait.
If the wife says, no, I'm going to buy it and tell my husband later, everybody will say, well, don't come down too hard on her. The point I'm making is men have numerous ways to express that they are in trouble with their girlfriend or wife. But they don't have many ways for men to distinguish or to discuss how women are in trouble with the husband.
Okay, so men have, but women don't. Or again, if we're talking about your wife here, you're competing with her. This is precisely why you're losing. This mindset is how you're losing, because it's not just what he's saying right now. It's about the mindset and how you translate that mindset to every move within your marriage. You're actively competing with her, so she's dragging your ass. That's how, bro. No. You're moving the goalpost. I know. Let's go back to what I said. In any remote way, if you're actively competing with a woman, you will attract masculine energy. It's very simple, okay? Masculine plus masculine is chaotic. Feminine plus feminine is chaotic. It's that simple. That's how the sexual polarity works, okay? Okay, so am I asking you to go become beta? Well, if she's being masculine, you're going to have to calm down and look at things and back off a little for a second to see how you can move. But again, you can also get more masculine and then you create more chaos. And if you know anything about this society, you can't afford that. You may end up in jail. He's right about that part. So maybe you should ask further questions as opposed to paint everything as, oh, we're fucked. Actually, no, you're not, unless you subscribe to this kind of rhetorics, and hopefully you're taking them out of context. I don't listen long enough. I hear enough of this. I see what's going on in the comments. I'm like, hey, no wonder why they're all struggling. You're competing with women. Once you go, women has multiple ways to do this, but men don't. Once you say that, no, you don't get a pass with that. Oh yeah, so we always blame it on men. Yes, precisely. Yeah, that's the society we live in. You can now choose to be a man or woman. You have to choose one. Okay? But there's a lot of glory that comes with being a good leader. There's a lot of accolades, a lot of beautiful grace that comes with it in the grand scheme of things. But it comes with responsibility, especially up front. You are the one sowing the seed. You carry the seeds, not the other way around.
And this is because men typically that are in relationships are in there because they're subservient to the woman. They become henpecked. They become henpecked in which she...
So I'm not disagreeing with what he's saying. I'm just not understanding where he's going with the punishment stuff. Because that mindset, you're looking for the way to punish her. I think you're better off just going and pull the trigger and file for divorce. Don't even waste any more time, because you already lost your power. If you feel like the person you're married to in the Western world has to be somebody that will receive punishment, I think you should just call it quits. Just be the bitch right away. Just do it. Pull the trigger. Be one of the 80% filing for divorce. Because you're not even open to asking further questions from people that are doing it successfully. You're running to people that have failed at it. No shots. Actually, some shots fired. Sorry.
As a de facto mother over time, in which she can punish him for bad behavior, which is bad behavior only in the context of their relationship. If he does this behavior outside of the context of a relationship.
So you have been punished by your wife, and you're looking for ways that you can punish her too, I guess. That's what this is about. Is that what this is about right now? Now, he showed this example. Let me show you this picture real quickly. Let me see. Let me hope I can find it. Picture Denzel. There you go. Denzel Washington. There's a quote from Denzel Washington. Again, I'm talking about how you can easily listen to this kind of rhetorics, take it out of context. I'm hoping that if you listen to his full message, he actually has a message. But most people don't have time for that. Most people are just looking for talking points to regurgitate, to make themselves feel better and continue to not get laid. Right? He goes, the secret to a happy marriage: do whatever your wife tells you. Yes, dear, and breathe. If you're listening with a broken heart, you're misinterpreting this. This has context to it. The same thing with happy wife, happy life. Happy wife, happy life doesn't mean you're not happy. It doesn't mean you become subservient. That's not what it means. It's completely taken out of context. That's how you interpret that. And there is context and nuances. There are stories, right? There's peace of mind. There's also, when you bring certain type of peace to your wife, there's a way that she multiplies and brings it back to you in multiple thousands of folds. How can you prove that wrong if you haven't even tried it, right? Oh, you don't want to try it, you're the masculine man, but yet you're not getting laid and you're still struggling, you're crying, you're bitching all over the place on the internet. I think we're going to get some real tough conversations here. Let me play the last video here. Right? Let me have some mercy, right? I want to be easy on you, right?
This is the key to a successful marriage. Basically becoming de facto son to the wife, and then telling her and placating her with yes, dear, in order for the marriage to proceed.
The yes, dear is not just yes, dear. He's wrong. He's flat out wrong. Unless maybe at the end of his message he has a different message. But this part, if you take this and you run back to your marriage with this, you will effectively use your own hands to destroy the marriage. If you say, oh yeah, the marriage was fucked anyway, maybe you're right. You gave up. You gave up, right? Like a bitch. And just face it, right? Because you keep listening to bullshit that's taken out of context. Yes, dear doesn't mean you're subservient. It doesn't mean that. Anyone with any kind of ounce of sense in their head knows that doesn't mean that. The only people this will make sense to is because he's hitting a nerve. You can relate with his pain. Maybe, I don't even know his full story. He's divorced. He went through some terrible worst case scenario situation, you know. Some people would say African Americans, this is bad for all of us. I doubt it. I doubt it. I beg to differ. I may not be able to say this on your panel. I'll back off. That's your panel. But I'll say that here right now, there are people, even in every community around the world, enjoying good marriage. It's a matter of what are you surrounding yourself with? Are you asking the right people question? Or you're sitting in somebody's sitting in somebody's 7 hours live streams just to tell you how much your life sucks? It's up to you. You get to decide.
If he says no, dear, the marriage stops immediately.
That's not true.
Okay.
That's not true. Even in the worst of the worst, where my wife may seem like she had a pushback, it's usually not a no, dear. You know how much extreme you have to have gone to get a no, dear, right? What are we saying no to? We're talking about she doesn't want to have sex. That's just a rejection from sex. You can't figure that out. Now you're listening to, oh, she said no, dear. She must mean I'm the bitch now. No, you're already a bitch. Stop the cap. Okay. What you need to do is ask further questions. Learn how to build a better game for yourself. The game you have sucks. That's the reality.
Right? Am I wrong on
Even in marriage,
this?
yes.
Is subservient simp behavior.
You're wrong.
If he manages to cuff his balls at any particular point, he's still going to get punished. His exit plan is going to be a punishment.
Yeah, he's wrong. At least, again, to be nice, I'm probably taking him out of context. He probably has a message at the end of it that'll say, hey, everything I said, fuck it. I was wrong, and you need to be a man, and you need to learn the skill set that's required to build long-term relationship. Long-term relationship and a marriage it's a game. It's like a professional game of life that's highly rewarding. You know how like LeBron James get millions upon millions of dollars? Yes. But it requires skill set, right? You want to be in the top 20% of people enjoying the marriage and not the last 50% that's already broken up? There's skill sets involved. That's not that hard to figure out. I can tell you that for free, right? If you have more questions, ask more questions. If you already made up your mind, that's okay too. That's okay. But do the rest of us all a favor. Stop walking around the internet bitching around. You're not helping anyone. You're not helping yourself either. Right? As a matter of fact, you're proving what I just said. You're not going to ever rest until you rest. Right? Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I really had a good time on this one. And I think we're going to call it a day. I'm a little exhausted, but do me a favor. Hit the like, subscribe, and share. And let everybody know that we're really cooking things here. I want all the smoke. You guys smoke? Bring it. Bring it in the comment area. I need some smoke, okay? Because that's how we all grow, okay? I need to grow. Listen, I have to listen long enough. I just learned yesterday what people mean by freaking accountability. They don't always mean punishment. It sounds like punishment. I think a lot of them are capping. They mean punishment. But whatever. We'll keep listening and we'll keep growing. And thank you so much for hanging out here. It means a lot to me. I promise I will keep working hard to build a platform for all of us where we can really learn together, right? With that being said, I'll see you on the next one, and peace.